All right. Great afternoon, great evening, depending on where you're chiming in from around the world. All right. So, of course, so today, hey, Michelle, what's going on? Shalom. All right. All right, so today's going to be a very interesting day because I'm talking a little bit about something different today because I got an amazing guest, a good buddy of mine that we go way back and wanted to spice things up a little bit for going into 2025. I mean, we're not going into 2025, but with us being in 2025 to really just get people to understand about the different strategies, different ways to position yourself to maximize different opportunities and different skill set. So you guys will know that over the past couple of days, I've been talking about the importance of learning different skills to put you in a position to actually build wealth. All right. So this afternoon, I'm focusing on more on real estate, but I'm not going to be the one doing the justice to this. Right. I got a good friend of mine that I'm bringing on just to really engage in a conversation on how he's been able to sell over $1 billion in real estate. All right. And once again, it's understanding the importance of learning the skill set to excel in any industry that will put you, take you to the top in any industry that you decide to hop on. So let me see if I can bring him on. Here we go. All right, let's see. Is he on here? All right.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, what's good?
I'm good to see you,
Yes, sir.
Mr. B.
Yes, sir.
Adesina.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. So let me set the stage for you guys who don't know who Dr. Stephen is. What I will say is either during this meeting or after this meeting, I just need you to go on Google and type in Dr. Stephen Akintayo. Either Google, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. I mean, whatever social media you want to go on to, just type in the name Dr. Stephen Akintayo to get an understanding of who he is, what he does, and why he's I don't want to say a beast, but why he's a force to be reckoned with when it comes to real estate. You and I had a chance to, I think we connected back in 2000 and I want to say either 18. I know it's been a while back. And I'll tell you that he was one of the first people who inspired me to actually become an author. Today, I think you've published probably what over 40 something books,
hmm Yeah,
right?
over
Over 40
46 books.
something books, 30 over 36 books that you can
46.
purchase. 46, my fault.
Yeah.
46. I'm on book number 5, right? He's on 46. So I know, obviously, you've done well for yourself, done extremely well in real estate, literally, I mean, in multiple continents, right? In UK, in Africa, specifically Nigeria, different African countries, what? I don't know, like all over the place. So, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Good.
Perfect, perfect. So the first thing, I mean, even before I go into the questions that I want to ask you, can you share your story as to, how you got on the path of success? I mean, I know your story, but I think a lot of people don't know. And we're now getting into real estate on how people can actually build wealth when it comes to real estate.
Beautiful. I think so. For me, the road to success was as far back as when I was 17, 18. Growing up in the northern part of Nigeria, my mother was a civil servant. My father's business had crumbled before I was born. So
Mm,
there was a lot of poverty going up. My mother used to take me to a neighbor to borrow money to pay my tuition fee. I used to hate that. I just hated it. So I know the first thing that pushed me to really, really want to be wealthy was I just didn't want the ridicule of following my mom to either go borrow money to pay my school fees or to go borrow groceries because I went to a boarding school. So, and when you're going back to boarding school, you have to get milk, you have to get gari. For your audience in America, gari is cassava flour,
Cassava, yeah.
right? So, but all of that has to be gotten in credit. And I just hated the whole feeling of having to go through that. And I just wanted to be, have some money, take care of my mother, make sure we don't experience those ridicule. I will never forget how even there at some point things got better. My mother became a middle level manager, assistant manager. And so we moved to Kwara States, and then we're in this estate for staff of PAC, and used to be NEPA then. And everybody has a good car. Our car is the only one that stops on the road. And we all
Wow.
come out and start pushing the car. And people passing by. I mean,
Mm.
we were just behind almost on everything. So at the age of 17, 18, I read my first book called Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And of course, that led me to do multi-level marketing, which was my first business. And 20 something years later, well, the rest is history, as they say.
Mm. So let me, for those of you guys, when he said he summed a whole lot up when he said the rest is history. I've happened to know him for I think at least half a decade now, and you're talking about somebody who does business in the millions worth of dollars on an annual basis, right? But when you look at the story, it wasn't bread and butter, right? Now, today we're actually focusing on real estate because I know you've done digital marketing, you've done so many other things, but bulk of your wealth came from real estate, right? And at least from my knowledge, I know a lot of people in the United States right now who are into real estate, but they're just scraping by. They're not really as successful as they want to be,
Mhm.
right? Even though they have their realtor license, the whole 9 yards. What kind of mindset does it take for somebody to actually succeed in real estate?
Very good question. I think the first is to really, really understand how real estate works. I think some of the problem is that, the hustle is more real than actually doing the work to be able to position yourself to really add value to someone. So I'll give you an example. I was at this pastor conference a couple of weeks back in December, and there was this, big time preacher, is a bishop, and then we're just sitting just before the ministers' conference started. I was saying, hey, Dr. Stephen, I want to invest in the UK. I'm thinking of buying land and I want to build apartments, And right there, when he was done describing what he wanted, I said, let me be honest with you, permit is the problem in the UK. It's going to take you more than 4 years, even if you get the land to then get the approval. And then I said to him, I said, you know what we can do? We can buy a three-story building in a place where there's gentrification, where other people have started building 10-story, 15-story. Once we get the three-story, we renovate the three-story and then apply for permits for 10-story,
Mhm.
right? So we'll be generating income while we're waiting for the permits for demolition and going 10-story comes. And by the time the permit for the 10-story come, we take a bridging loan and then we build our 10-story. And when we're done building the 10-story, we refinance it. And I promise you, you will cash out minimum 10 to 20 million pounds. You
Um,
know, it was just a
mm,
5 minute. The guy said, wow, this is a crash course.
yeah,
You just, and then he was like, okay, I'm going to link you up with this person. Let's make it happen.
wow.
Now, most realtors can't do that. They
Mm,
can have conversation with you and then really, really be able to solve that problem and turn themselves to a consultant instead of just being an agent. We just want to make a commission on selling property. So you have to be like a consultant, sitting down, giving advice, giving counsel. looking at that particular client, not just as somebody you want to make money from, but as somebody you really want to help. I have an elevator speech that says, "My name is Dr. Stephen Akintayo. I'm leading real estate investment coach. I help rich people make more money through real
Mm,
estate investment. Are you interested?" Right? So the entire pitch I just gave now is about helping. It's about, so there's nothing much about me except my introduction. And I
yeah.
think that's what you want to focus your mind if you want to make money as a realtor in the real estate business. Focus on the customer, focus on solving their problem. Even if they end up not buying from you, it's not as important as solving their problem. I had an experience, a guy wanted to buy a five-bedroom for me in a particular, you can call it, what do we call it in the US, countryside. And I
Okay.
remember, in my consultation session with him, I said, look, this location is a countryside, and it is better you do maybe two-bedroom so that your focus should be on rental. Because he said he wanted to live there. I said, look, you will have to drive like 2 hours before you come to the city center. All
Mm,
right. And so it might be better to buy two-bedroom so that you rent it out. You're not necessarily looking at it for living. And the man was, when I was done, he said, first of all, I want to thank you for your honesty. You will make less commission selling two-bedroom, but you were real to me that that was a better option than wanting to sell me a five-bedroom where you make more money.
yeah.
He said, but guess what? Despite that is the countryside, that's exactly what I want, and I'm paying for five-bedroom, and he paid for five-bedroom.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
But that way I've earned his trust. I've earned, the fact that, hey, this wasn't just about money for me. I genuinely want to solve a problem for the man.
So would you say that the mistake that a lot of realtors or agents are making is that they're focused more on selling as opposed to building relationship that can ultimately lead to a bigger deal?
Absolutely. The focus is usually about wanting to make a commission. You and I know it's difficult here in America and other Western world. You have your tax, you have your mortgage, you have your insurance and all of that. So we are always under pressure in the Western world. And that's why I tell people, I have a series I'm doing. I call it Japa, innovative Japa or Japada, you know. And a part of one of the things I shared that I said, if you can, if you want to relocate to the Western world, make sure that you have your 1 year or 18 months rent and you sort that out or buy your own property. Um, because you have no idea. And it's now that I'm beginning to realize what people face after, buying my over $1 million house here in the US and meeting people. And I realize the struggle they go through by not just having a house.
Mm,
Somebody was to share with me close to me was even to rent a house. There's almost no information she didn't provide. Like they search and did credit search, we're analyzing the last payment she made on this, the last, and it was tough
mm,
just to even rent an apartment. They're telling her, oh, because she's 2 years in the US, oh, your credit history isn't yet, 3 or 4 years. I mean, the
right.
whole thing was just so complicated. Meanwhile, I didn't even have the social security when I bought my house. But because I have my cash down, okay,
Money, money talks.
money talks.
Yeah.
It made my life a lot easier. So I get it that we're often we have a lot of pressure to pay bills, but if you can just hold up, like before you go meet the client, drop your own pressure and just wear an empathy cap and
Yeah.
genuinely think about the customer, genuinely try to help the customer, solve their problem. Ultimately, the universe has a way of rewarding you in an
Uh,
exceptional. Yeah.
That's love. Somebody said, what's the first book that he read? Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. I mean, that's almost like a business Bible for a lot of us entrepreneurs, you know,
Yeah.
when we first came into the business world. So that's awesome. So now, from a skill set standpoint, so it's one thing to have a mindset like, hey, I need to be more focused. And from what I'm hearing you say, like you even cater towards the affluent people. So you might even need to have your own niche inside of the market so that way you're not all over the place.
Yeah.
So I get that. What skill set do you think somebody needs to actually be able to build a multiple six-figure or even a seven-figure business? Because I know in my industry that you have hundreds of thousands of people. One thing that sets successful people apart from those who are not successful is their skill set. So, from your experience, what skill set do you have, or you see people who are extremely successful that they're exuding that most agents or most realtors do not have?
I would be good question. I think the first skill set will be to love to sell and
Mm,
looking at sales from a different perspective. You know, many of us have really, really been messed up with all that we know about sales. You know, we see sales from the point of that hungry guy knocking at your door, telling you, oh, come on, buy. You know, we look at sales from a negative perspective. But you
yeah,
see, when you're really, really skillful about selling, you see sales from a value perspective. You see selling from I am solving the person's problem. I'm changing
right.
their lives. I am helping them. I'm giving them home ownership. Listen, I'm doing this guy a favor. And when you look at, you know, sales from that perspective, the client will know, the client can see it. Like when you come from a value perspective, the client know, and the client treats you different.
Yeah,
You know, as much as I have sold property all my life, I also, of course, had to get an agent here in America for some of the property development that I'm doing. And my agent, she's Maggie, she's from Peru, I guess, and she understands this. And she's like my best friend, right? I need somebody to cut my grass. Maggie has somebody for me, even after selling the house,
mm,
right? I need somebody to help me clean my house. She has somebody for me. I need this. I need so because she built a relationship. Even the last time she said, "Man, we need to go have lunch. It's been a while.
mm,
You know, let's go." So when you, a customer knows when it's not just about making money, but it's about I am solving problem for you. I want your life to be easy. I want your life to be better. In the process, of course, I will make money. You won't even have a choice than to do the business with me because, hey, I took you for lunch. I help
yeah,
you get a gardener. I help you solve all the problems that is none of my business, right?
mm,
So when we look at, you know, when we try to build selling skills and we master selling from the point of view of I'm adding value, I'm changing lives, you will sell like no man's business. And I will
mm.
recommend a book called The Greatest Salesman That Ever Lived by Odman Dingo. The greatest salesman that ever lived by Odman Dingo. When you read that book, you will love selling because it also was a book that helped even me to overcome my hatred for selling. Because going through that journey, I saw how a salesman is indeed a problem solver,
Right,
is a solution provider, is just all out to change lives. And I saw that look, I'm not just in for the commission, I'm also in for the joy of saying I help that person get a home. That person is also now getting a monthly income because I was able to help them get an investment property.
sure.
Right, that person now has a land they bought for $50,000 now worth $200,000 because they did land banking through me. And when you start seeing sales from that perspective, you'll be good. But you must learn sales. Go to the best guys at it. Go for seminars on sales. One of those great guys when it comes to sales is Grant Cardone. I mean, he's shameless about it. Grant Cardone wants to start his conference. He's going to start by saying, "Hey, first of all, don't. Some of you are going to say I'm selling you, selling you. Yes, I intend to sell you. Like full disclosure."
He's not hiding it.
Because guess what? If I don't sell to you, you won't be able to enjoy the value in what I'm selling to you, and
Mm.
you won't improve. So, in these 3 days, I intend to sell to you.
Wow.
So that's a good salesman. He's comfortable. He he feels sales from he's solving your problem, and he's proud of it. The second thing, honestly, from my own perspective in terms of skill, is relational skill.
Yeah.
You really have to get good with people. Even if you're an introvert, most people still don't know I'm introverted,
Mm.
right? And I'm extremely introverted. I'm in a 3.3 acre all by myself now since Sunday when my wife and kids left me here and traveled. And I enjoy it like no man's business. I just love being alone. I love me. I think the world would be a better place with more people like me in it. The best moment of my life is when I'm with me. I'm
Mm.
my own best friend. I'm my own best companion. I just love me. Okay.
Yeah.
But guess what? I have over time come to realize that as much as I love me alone cannot make me
Yeah.
rich. I have to interact with other people. Me alone can always bless me. I have to get blessed by connecting with other people. So I've had to work on myself to build the culture to interact, to connect with people,
Mm.
and to be pleasant doing that. To be pleasant host. I have hosted 2 people in my house today as they came in. Oh, what would you like to eat? Can I serve you? You just have to master the art of being
Yeah.
pleasant. Of course, I want to say you should do that to everyone because some people are silly and they're not nice and they're not worth your investment, wasting your time,
Sure.
right? And of course, so somebody said treat people the way they treat you and not the way you will always want to treat people because some people are not worth even being
Yeah.
given the kind of attention because they're just going to exploit it and keep taking advantage of it, right? But you have to master the art of people also enjoying your company, enjoying being with you, being able to be around you, and there's no much air. Of course, it's not easy to do, but it's a skill you
Yeah.
have to master. Because ultimately, people do business with those they know, they like, they trust.
Absolutely.
You know, people they know, they like, they trust. The last skill is communication skills in terms of being able to use something I call edu selling or information marketing. You do that with your insurance business. And I know I'm one of the major persons you studied, but I've decided I want to study you right now because you've done this thing better than me. So, the teacher has to go to his students and learn right now because you're killing it.
I'm trying.
I see the way you do those boards and then you're breaking the images and oh Lord, if I can just do like this, okay?
That's
This one
hilarious.
I've sold over $1 billion in real estate. I probably have sold $1 trillion
$1 million.
in real estate. If I can just,
Do that.
but it's something we all have to learn.
Yeah.
How do you present things? How do you, and I love the way you do it, and everybody should study you because the way you do it doesn't look like you're trying to sell them. Rather, it looks like you're a professor of, you know, um, health benefit or life
Life
insurance. You are
insurance.
you are a professor who is. I even check your bio. You're saying I'm helping people get out of debt, retire without paying tax. That's how selling really should be.
Sure.
That's how becoming a great realtor will happen. if you come to people like a professor. So I learned this many years ago. So rather than say, come and buy land, I started teaching people on benefit of land banking. Rather than say, come and buy a house, I started telling people the benefit of investment real estate, why a mortgage is not even an asset, and why you need to buy your investment property before you then buy a property that you live in. Okay,
Mm.
so by the time of course, people will argue with you, but by
Of
the time you
course.
break it down, there's some sense in what this guy is saying. I saw one of your video being posted by somebody else. Of course, checking the comments, people were arguing, what's this guy
Yeah.
saying? But the more they argue, the richer you get. The more the
Facts.
sane ones are like, you know what, I think I need to talk to this guy to do business. So you must master the art of communication in a way that doesn't come across as though you're trying to sell, but comes
Yeah.
across as though you're trying to teach. Because guess what? Nobody argues with their professor, right?
Mm.
When somebody is a nice teacher, the first thing that happens is that you now know them because they're your teacher. Now, the next thing that happens is that you like them, at least if you want to pass their class.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And nobody doubts their professor. You trust your professor
Yeah.
on the subject matter that they're
Facts.
teaching you in.
Yeah.
And so once you come from the information marketing angle, edu selling angle, as a realtor or as any salesperson, when you come from that edu sell, people lose their guard. They know you, they like you, they trust you, and
Do
they give you
business
their
with you.
money.
Yeah. Man,
Hmm.
that's so fire, man. I hope you guys who are watching are taking notes. Because what the gems he just dropped right now, it cuts across different industries, not just real estate, any industry that when you understand the coin it is attraction marketing, right? How do you attract clients to your business without you selling to them or trying to force your way? And the reason why a lot of folks are not making money as a realtor or real estate agent is because this condition that I have to sell to survive. And I always tell people that clients are like dogs. They can sniff someone who's trying to sell. You see what I'm saying? But I mean, like he said, I mean, he's a master when it comes to attraction marketing. One of the guys, like he rightly said, 100% true, correct. That I studied his social media page when I didn't have followers. Like a lot of you guys who follow me now may see me with high followers, but that was because I was watching other successful people what they were doing, and I simply follow suit, right? And I always tell people, if you want to be successful, follow people who have already done what you're trying to do, and just replicate, right? So I mean that I think that's amazing, Doc. So how do you identify like lucrative opportunities? Because like you've done business in Nigeria, you've done millions of dollars worth of projects in Dubai, UK. Now you're residing in the United States. Like, how do you spot these opportunities in different, parts of the world?
Well, good question. Many years ago, I made a very good decision. I decided to restructure all my businesses to meet two criteria. Number one,
Okay.
the test of universality. Number two, the test of scalability. So I made up my mind, any business I'm going to do, I must be able to do it anywhere else in the world. I'm not interested in those kind of businesses where okay, it's good, you could do it in Dubai, but you can it's not universal.
Replicate. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can't replicate the same business when you come to the UK. So, and that was very, 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 I think it's one of the things that changed my business life. Being able to now change the businesses I'm into such that I can do that same business anywhere in the world. Like, take me right now, I'm doing my first tour to Canada, and I'll be visiting 8 cities in Canada. And I'm getting invitations like, Dr. Stephen, we need to speak at so events in Canada. It's for Black startup owners. We're ready to pay your 20,000 speaking engagement. We're ready to book your business class. Just tell us you're going to come. I'm getting someone say, hey, We have over 1,000 housing units we've developed in Canada. We want to
Mm.
look at partnership with you. We're going to pick you up, and take you tour, and whatever you say you want to do with us, we're ready. So suddenly, I can show up in a city and then leave that city, deeper, being way richer. Okay.
Mm.
And just because the same skill, the same product, the same business I'm able to do in Dubai, I can do in those new cities. I'm doing in US, I can do in those cities. I'm doing in the UK, I can do in those cities. So I will say that it is very, very important to first look at ideas and opportunity from, are they scalable? In other words, as much as I'm able to make $100,000 in this business, can I make $1 billion?
Yeah.
Can I, is there a ceiling to the scalability of the business that I'm doing? And once you have now created a niche in these two areas, universal products or services, scalable products or services, what then happened deeper is that it's easy for you to just take the map of the world and say, let me see, okay, Shanghai, right? And then, boom, even in Shanghai, they still need that product. The only difference is you are now saying, how do I want to enter? Do I want to come from the luxury market, from the consumer market, and then what other things will I add? What other services will I add? I'll give you an example. I studied the Dubai market. I've been traveling to Dubai doing seminars, and I always do this. So before I open business in any country of the world, I will first go there and do seminars and do conferences, most times using my money.
Mm.
Like even though I'm going to Canada now, I have other engagement to speak. But guess what? I was the one that announced I'm going to Canada.
Right.
Pay for hall,
And then you attract
is
that
when people now,
opportunity.
yeah, exactly. So when people now heard I'm coming, oh, then we want to host you and all of that. So I often do that. But when I started visiting Dubai, I then realized that the story I hear is of Africans going to Dubai and being swindled when it comes to real estate. You hear stories like, so at the airport, somebody told me, oh, they have an opportunity. Then I went to the office. Then they gave me coffee. They gave me ticket to safari, and then I dropped, and then I dropped $50,000. Then came back to Dubai. After 1 year, they stopped picking my call. Came back
Wow.
2 years later. They were no longer in that office. My $50,000 gone. You know,
Mhm.
and then I kept hearing a lot of that. So I said, you know what? Since we're already doing real estate in Nigeria, let's come to Dubai. And then we are also African, we're people of color, and we're on ground because most of those companies were not even people of color.
Sure.
Most people of color are either doing normal conventional job, and majority of Nigerians, particularly whether security job or very odd kind of jobs. So we said, let's go to Dubai. And you won't believe this, Dubai. In 1 year, we became the largest black-owned brokerage firm in Dubai in 1 year, doing
Wow.
tens and tens of millions of dollars in real estate sales. And that tells you what I'm talking about. Because real estate was universal, so even because I was already doing it in Nigeria, it was easy for me to then bring that skill to
Mm.
Dubai. And because it was also a scalable business, it was then easy also to scale it when we got to Dubai as well. And since then we've just been doing that all over the world, as you
Wow.
know.
That's fire, man. That's fire. Now, as you were talking, this actually leads to my next question because I noticed a few things, um, relationship and networking, right? So I know how powerful networking is, at least in my field. I won't be where I am today without connecting with people like yourself, networking. We met at an event a couple of years ago, built a relationship. How imperative is it for people who want to be successful in real estate in their field to build a very strong networking community?
Very good question. Very, very good question. I put it this way. So when I started business, the first thing my focus was hard work. And you will have heard it many times. And trust me, there's dignity in labor. Like nobody deceive you. I don't care what you do, it's still gonna be hard.
Yeah, work hard.
But at some point, I then said, you know what? I'm gonna work smart, hard. Don't forget the hard. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
gonna work smart, hard. So I was gonna mix hard work plus smart work together. And what do I mean? Let's assume people tell you smart work. What do they really mean by smart work? Mental reasoning, critical thinking. But Deepo, you and I agree that if you are up 2 a.m. still reading books and thinking, there's hardness in that. You may
It
not be
is.
carrying bricks. You
Yeah.
may not be carrying bricks, you may not be doing manual labor, but that
Mental.
means you're working an average of 16 hours a day. That's still hard.
Yeah.
And that's still work. Okay? Even though the work might be smart because you're working on your
Yeah.
mind, but it's still a hard one. So at
Yes.
some point, I added hard work plus smart work. And I realized that hard work will earn you a living. Smart work will make you extremely comfortable. But deeper, until I added network, I never saw anything, you know, beginning to resemble billions,
Mm.
right? Because, for example, what will take, right, 50 years to do with hard work, smart work will do it in 10 years. But
Mm.
deeper, what will take hard work plus smart work 10 years to do, network will do it in 6 months.
Wow. That's deep.
So,
Say that one more time because I think a lot of people miss that.
what
That's
will
fire.
take hard work, smart work to do in 10 years, right? So let's start it from beginning. Now, what will take 50 years to do with hard work? You will be able to do it in 10 years, adding smart work to your hard work. However, what took hard work and smart work 10 years to achieve, you will do in 6 months with network. Because
That's fire.
just one network, you don't need two, three, one network is worth
Mm.
$1 billion, right? One network. And oh boy, I have seen this real deeper. I have had experiences where, and I think you met me in those times. I think we met 2017, and you've met me having those kind of customers who were doing business with me those days. $1,000, $2,000. I will not let me rest. Right?
They try to rip your shirt off.
But but
Yeah.
today I have clients who who will wire $1 million deeper and have never even bothered to call me. They just call my office. I love your boss. I watch his video. He's a great guy. I want to invest. What's the term? Boom, 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 the network. And then boom, I'm getting the account say, hey, we just sold $1 million. And I've never met the person. If I'm today, and so I go for conferences and someone say, they say, how are you? Well, by the way, I invested $2 million in your company. I say, oh, really? How you want to almost frustrate. I say, thank you. Thank you for doing business with us. But that's the power of powerful people knowing you. And I think
Yeah.
somebody puts it this way: who knows you is more important than who you know.
Mm.
Right? So when we talk about network, it's not just going to meet rich people, it's them knowing you as well.
Yeah.
Because when they know you, then it's a lot easier, it's a lot sweeter. Then they are coming to you as the person solving their problem.
Mm.
They're even seeing you as the person solving their problem. And mind you, they don't have the ego issue.
Yeah.
They don't even want people to know they have that kind of money.
Exactly.
So when It's the poorer ones that want to brag to the world and say, you know, that guy called Stephen Akinta. I say, yeah, he's a rich guy. He does real estate all over the world. I say, yeah, but you know, I did business with him. I put in some big money. And then when you then ask him, how much is the big money? Right? Then he will shout as though when he shouts, the money increases. He say, I invested $10,000, you know. Or I invested
Oh man.
$50,000. You know, and so the more he shouts, the bigger the money
Yeah.
gets.
Yeah.
In fact,
Interesting.
today, I even have people who never did business with a company use me to brag. You know, and oh yeah, oh, Stephen, oh, I have some investment with Stephen, you know. And we did, so, you know, because it's like bragging that
Yeah.
your money is with Dangote or your money is with $10, right?
But check
Or
this out though. When I
yeah.
think to them, it's also that networking. You see what I'm saying? That I network and have relationship with them, which is interesting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The wealthy wants to do business with you because they know that it's also a way to strengthen their
Of
relationship with you.
course.
But the beauty of dealing with good network, high net worth individuals is that you then do business with peace of mind. They
Yeah.
do business with you and they respect your dignity. They respect your
Mm.
privacy. It's a poor man, Tipo, that wants to do business with you and say, Tipo, until I speak to you on phone, I don't want to talk to no PA. I don't want to talk to no manager. It's you, Tipo, I must talk to. High network people don't even do that, right?
And those are the ones that give you the most problems too.
Exactly. They're the ones who small thing they decided to call you out on social media for something that is not even true. So, and that's why I tell people the higher you rise, if you're smart, you need to change the quality of those you serve. Let me say that
Mm.
again. The higher you rise, change the quality of those you serve. People always want to earn more. So a lot of people have asked me, how did you what were you able to do over $1 billion in real estate in a space of 16 years? And I say the secret is simple. I started changing the quality of those I serve. The product remained the same, real estate.
Yep.
Okay? But no matter how hard I work deeper, if I continue to attract customers who can only invest $50,000 or $100,000 with me, I couldn't have done over $1 billion in sales in 16 years
Mm.
because we can do the maths, right? But things started changing when an average clientele was not doing $1 million. Average. I remember
Yeah.
I once announced on social media, people insulted me. True story. I said, well, Happy New Year. But going forward, if you're buying anything less than $1 million, please don't call my phone, even if you have my number.
I remember.
Call my
I think I
office.
remember that post. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Call my office. Oh Lord, they cost me out.
Yeah.
They cost me out. Oh, he's arrogant. What has he achieved? But deeper can I shock you? That same day, those who could afford over $1 million started reaching out, started doing thumbs up.
Mm.
They were the first to greet me. I say, correct.
Yo, poverty is a disease, man.
It is a disease. You know, they were reaching out and say, wow, nice. And I got a product. If I started that year with a real estate product worth, I think, $46 million. And I say, so we do millions of dollars now. You know, don't even waste my time. And
Yeah.
so as much as majority were crying and shouting and insulting me,
That
the
minority.
right set of
Hmm.
people, and they are not many, and I don't need them
They're
to be
not.
many,
Yeah.
they reach out and my story changed. And that's really how you want to scale. Network,
Wow.
quality network.
Man, guys, I mean, I hope you're taking notes because these are gems that I keep saying, like, if you apply them, it's going to change it's going to change your business. It's going to change your real estate game. And like even me in my field, when I decided that I was not going to be serving a particular, you know, group of people and focus on high net worth individual, my business changed, right? And everything boils down to like that network that we're talking about. Like, do you have the right people in your network to help you scale your business? All right. Now, one thing I also want to ask is this, because now we've talked a lot about how you've achieved success, the glamour, the fame, the whole 9 yards. But what would you say is what are some of the challenges that you faced, right? Throughout your career, and how have you been able to overcome them? Because a lot of people cannot survive some of the challenges that you've been through.
I think, and that's a good question. Uh, I, I have been through a lot, let me be honest, in the course of doing business. And I think you've seen a few of my trials. And one of the challenges I think I faced was the fact that typically from where we come from, you and I come from, people don't get rich when they're young. So
Yeah,
we're not used to young, successful, wealthy people. I remember one of my mentees, uh, going for a presentation. Now, here was he was talking to a 55-year-old man who was the general manager of their company. And then he was saying, hey, my name is Richard. I'm the CEO of so and so company. It said at some point the man started cussing him out. Who made you CEO? Who made you CEO? CEO? Because he couldn't understand
yeah,
why he is 55 and a guy that is 26
yeah,
is calling
CEO.
himself CEO. He's been in business for over 20 years. Right? And then he's like CEO. I mean, and I see it even now when I even introduce my CEOs. You see the older ones say, well, it seems CEOs now come younger. So the first thing is this guy must be doing something wrong.
Yeah,
Then he must be. In fact, somebody was chatting me up yesterday and sent me a chat and said, when you used to live in Dubai, and I was bragging about you to a guy, and you know what he said to me? He said, because I was living in Burj Khalifa. Burj Khalifa is the tallest building in the world. And I had a driver, I had a Rolls Royce that they'll pick me up and to the office and back. And so he was bragging about me to his friend. The friend said, no, that guy can't be legit. Do you know how much it costs to live in Burj Khalifa? Right? He must be a criminal.
interesting. Poverty mindset.
Yes. So the first issue was that people just felt my words were so big and something must be wrong somewhere, for me to talk that big, for me to act that big, to do that big. And it was a major issue for them. And so it's easy to hear people, easily have an issue with you. It's easy for name calling, and all manner of stuff. So,
Yeah,
but I think the solution to that is surround yourself with great mentors. I was still asking Dr. Cosmos. I mean, you and I, the last time you were here, I took you to
yeah.
his home.
Great man.
Yes, and we had a long conversation. Even the last time I said, why do people like calling my name out for something? I now have a company of over 300 employees. There are MDs in charge of each subsidiary. There's customer service. There's offices. There are people who run the business. Yet somebody somewhere will shout my name and say, Stephen, I just love using my picture and throwing dirt. And
Yeah.
he said something very funny. He said, welcome to the baptism of fire. That's what Dr. Cutler said. He said, if
Yeah.
you're famous, particularly on social media, you know, expect things to happen, man. It's just
Mm,
normal. But guess what? If you are consistent, which has been my story, and I think it's an encouragement to all entrepreneurs listening. If you are consistent, all those news will fizzle out. I promise you.
Absolutely.
I remember my spiritual mentor, you know, when the church started growing, because these things comes with growth and you better be prepared. If you're not prepared and don't want to grow, you know that some dreams you shouldn't bother because you love your sanity. So don't dream too big. Don't be a Joseph, dreaming father, mother, bowing
Yeah.
down. Just limit it, right? Because if you go the Joseph route, you enter the pits, you enter the slavery,
Mm.
you enter the prison before you ever get to the palace. And then the church started growing, and people even said me, I'm not going to your church when we go for evangelism. So why are you not coming? Say, we heard that your pastor, buried 7 cows. And as the cows were getting rotten and the maggots were coming out, that's how the
Getting richer.
size of the members.
Man, very
I remember
interesting.
I used to joke in those days. I said, okay, so if it was 7 cows that makes a church to grow, why not go
What?
bury your own 7 cows? And let's see whether
Right.
it's that
Let's see the
easy.
growth explosion.
Exactly. Let's see if it's that easy.
Mm.
But somebody puts it this way, okay? The lazy man says his neighbor is lucky, right?
Mm.
That's the language of the lazy man. When you ask a lazy man, why is your neighbor successful and you are not successful? You don't mind him. He's just
Lucky.
lucky, right? But in reality, the person is probably working. The person is
Yeah.
probably putting the work, putting the numbers.
I like that.
The person is putting what needs to be put in
Sure.
for greatness to occur. The person is intentional about every single step that they make. And that's why they keep
Mm.
growing farther and higher. And I think that's the secret here.
Nice.
You will face a lot. One of it for me, like I said, is just that cloud, resentment, concern, doubts. But it's beginning to change in the last 3 years because of the quality of people they now see me with, right? So people now
Yeah.
see me with a lot of these old money people like Dr. Cosmos. So
Yeah.
their
Yeah.
new rationale, deeper, is that Dr. Cosmos gave him money. That's why, which is better than, at least it's better
Right.
than maybe he stole the money or maybe something went wrong somewhere. In fact, my
Yeah.
friend Izu said somebody called him from Dubai, was authoritatively telling him, it's like somebody calling you Deepo and I say, Deepo, I know Stephen got like, $100 million from Dr. Cosmos. And
Give to
he
you.
used the money, he's expanded, that. And he
Mm.
was talking on. So Isu said he didn't know how to say it's not true.
Resp-
He said it just was a because the guy was he was too
Too
sure
bold
about
and confident.
exactly. So, but it's a better one now. I mean, the stories are changing to
Yeah.
those. Oh, it was this person that gave him money. It was Obasanjo that gave him money. It's Bishop Oyedepo that gave him money. I think it's a better one. So,
Wow. So I mean, I think the bottom line is that as we getting to wrap up, we're definitely gonna have a part two tomorrow because I got other questions I want to ask you, and I feel like I don't want us to cram it in one session. So definitely, if you're watching this tomorrow, I'm going to be doing a part two to ask more pertinent questions. But if you can take anything away from today, because even me, like you can see, I'm actually listening, taking mental notes because a lot of the stuff that Dr. Steven is talking about, if you apply them, whether you're new to the real estate game, you're looking at, or you've been in for a while. If you apply some of these principles, you will see a radical change in your business in 2025 and beyond, right? Talking about networking, talking about attraction marketing, building relationships with the right people, right? Talking about engaging in a business or creating a niche for yourself. Because the problem that a lot of folks have is you call yourself, I'm a realtor, right? I sell real estate. Well, who you sell real estate to? Man, anybody that's looking to buy a house. You've already failed before you even got started. You know what I mean?
absolutely.
And one thing I love about what you said, Dr. Stephen, is that you have it in your elevator pitch that you actually deal with rich people. So if you don't fall into the category of richness, he is not your guy, right? So you guys need to start figuring out who is your clientele, who is your target audience. Whatever industry you do business in, you need to have a target audience if you're going to scale your business. Dr. Steven, what final words do you have for folks and before we schedule for tomorrow again?
Well, I mean, thank you for doing this, and I can't wait for tomorrow. Guys, don't miss it tomorrow. I think invite more people. Let's have more people join. I promise you this conversation will be very helpful. And we're turning this to a book, by the way, for a lot of you in sales and real estate. Um, my final word will be if you can sell shamelessly, you will be stinkingly rich. Let me say that again. If you can sell shamelessly, you will be stinkingly rich. Um,
Mm,
you know, great newsmakers don't watch news because they are busy making the news.
mm,
And it's
indeed.
important to know that on your way to the top, you will become an object of talks. And it's good. You shouldn't even hate it, just build thick skin for it.
Yep.
If you're selling, they will say you're selling too much. If you're poor, they will say you're poor. If you're rich, they will say, where did you get the money? So I think my second quote is be shameless about your authenticity, about your originality. Be shamelessly you, right? The same way I said, if you can sell shamelessly, you'll be stinkingly rich. In the same vein, be shamelessly you. And this is not to say you shouldn't improve. This is not to say you shouldn't work on yourself to be a better person. What I'm saying is just be you. You
Yeah.
don't need to try to be somebody else to make people like you. At some point, people will start liking the uniqueness, the way you sound, the realness. When at first when I started even doing this live show, people were like, how does it sound? How does it talk this way? How does it have this tonality? Today, people like it. People now wants to even talk like me. And so be shamelessly you as much as
Mm,
you want to improve on yourself, but be shamelessly you because your story is your story, is your DNA, is unique to you. Nobody else can have something like it. And be vulnerable with your good story, your shameless grass to grace story. There's no point coming in and trying to act like you are now one of the elite. Where I live, I'm the only black guy. But guess what? That has made me unique on on
yeah. Stand
on
out.
New Year's Day. And my neighbors were doing firework, and we went there. The only black guy, and I was shamelessly black. Okay, shamelessly talking about my Nigerian heritage, my Nigerian food. When I did my open house here, I invited all my neighbors and I told my chef, prepare Nigerian food. Let them taste the spicy Nigerian food. And guess what? Everybody keeps talking about me. Oh, we watch you on TV. Oh, you're doing great.
Mm,
Dubai, Nigeria. Oh, so it's a thing of excitement.
yeah.
But for you to want to hate, yourself, not everything is perfect about being a person of color, but be uniquely you and love it so much. Like I love it.
That's
I love me.
fire, man. That's fire. That's fire. Well, guys, I mean, I hope you guys have gotten value. Like I said, part two is
I
coming
live
tomorrow
all
because I got,
over the world. The person say, "Are you living in US now?" I live all over the world. I have
yeah,
offices all over the
he doesn't have, so he's the only, he doesn't have a permanent residence. You know?
world.
So, but yeah, so definitely stay tuned tomorrow. We're definitely going to be going live again just to kind of dive more deeper into what it takes to become successful in the real estate game from somebody who's doing it and that has helped thousands of people replicate his success. So, Dr. Steve, definitely appreciate you stopping by. Look forward to connecting with you tomorrow and doing bigger things.
Thank you,
All
thank
right.
you. I think one of your clients said they're trying to reach you and all of
Oh,
that.
please send me a DM him. I'm sorry if I don't respond on time. I just,
The person
my
said you
schedule a little
put
bit tight.
something out and you didn't respond. So, oh Lord, I want to be like Deepo one day.
No, no,
Everybody,
no,
man
no,
is chasing Deepo. Deepo is
no, no, no.
busy.
No, not at all. Please, whoever the person is, please send me another message so it can come up to the top of my message list. Not at all, man. We're humble. We're graciously humble. It's all
Bye
good.
bye,
All right,
everybody.
man. Yo,
Love you.
Doc.